First of all, a confession on my part, I've never actually been on a diet. I mean, a lot of diets involve behaving in ways that are just not natural to us. So, Dr. Atkins himself died because of his own diet. So, not a diet to be thinking about that we soon give up. And I know what you're probably thinking right now. You're probably thinking, well, Alan, if we go on a plant-based diet, aren't we going to be restricting ourselves to what we can eat? Hello, good morning and welcome to Tenerife, and today we're going to be thinking about why other diets are doomed to fail. So first of all, a confession on my part, I've never actually been on a diet. I am carrying a little bit of excess weight here around my belly, as so many people of my age do, and I have to admit I have in the past thought about maybe losing a little bit of weight, maybe a kilo or 2 kilos, and every time I've tried to do it, I quickly realized how uncomfortable it is when we try to cut back on foods or we try to stop eating certain things. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? It's not a nice feeling. We soon give in and go back to how we always were, because at the end of the day it's not a good feeling to feel a little bit peckish, a little bit hungry. It interferes with our concentration, doesn't it? I know last year when I was writing my book, and suddenly everything changed, that's the title of my book. Last year I was writing it, and I remember on a number of occasions getting that sensation that I was hungry, and suddenly I was unable to concentrate. I was not able to think creatively. I wasn't able to work on my story in the same way as I would if I'd have been full, if I'd have had a satisfied feeling. So yeah, I really understand how difficult it is to go on a diet, or let's put it the other way, I can imagine how difficult it must be if you really got lots of weight to lose. The amount of self-determination needed to lose weight, it's absolutely unbelievable, really. Just having dipped my little toe into the water of just losing a tiny little bit weight, I can appreciate how difficult it must be. And I think that one of the keys has to be that we need to feel good on our diet. So in this session, before we move on to the next session, I wanted to think about I did some research into the main reasons why most diets fail, and for me, I think one of the main reasons is they're just not natural. I mean, a lot of diets involve behaving in ways that are just not natural to us. So in the case, for instance, of the Atkins diet, we're asking ourselves to eat only proteins, and the Atkins diet basically cuts out all carbohydrates. We can eat anything except carbohydrates, but of course carbohydrates form a main part of our diet: bread, pasta, rice, and lots of other carbohydrates too. So when we cut these out of our diet, eventually we start to crave them. And of course, just eating protein is terribly unhealthy anyway. It's probably one of the worst diets you can possibly go on. I mean, Dr. Atkins himself died because of his own diet. So not a diet to be thinking about. But when we're restricting ourselves in a way, I think it's only a matter of time. Oh, and there's also, with the Atkins diet, digestion problems, all sorts of horrible things. So, you know, when we start restricting ourselves in that way, it's not a surprise that we soon give up. And I know what you're probably thinking right now. You're probably thinking, well, Alan, if we go on a plant-based diet, aren't we going to be restricting ourselves to what we can eat? In a way, yes, but not in the way you might think. The thing about our plant-based diet, our vegan diet, is that it's a really natural diet, and we're going to be exploring that in the next session or the session after. We're going to be digging into why it is a very natural diet, and you'll find that although you might be thinking now that you're going to be cutting down on lots of things or removing from your diet the things that you love so much, you'll find that actually those things are not the things that your body naturally craves. So it's a completely different thing. But on this session, we're going to think about the 4 main reasons that diets fail. And the first one is that they tend to be short term. So sometimes we have great success, we manage to muster the motivation to cut out food from our diets, and we might lose a kilo or 2 in the first month if we're really lucky. But sustaining that over the long term, that can be a real chore. Having to use self-determination and self-discipline to resist food, that's obviously a reason that eventually diets fail. The second is hunger. Who wants to be hungry all day? Certainly I don't. As I mentioned before, when I'm hungry, I can't concentrate. I sometimes even get in a bad mood. It's an uncomfortable feeling, isn't it, to be hungry? So if we're on a diet, we want to lose weight, but we're feeling hungry, obviously that's going to be after a while an unsustainable position to be in. So we're going to probably end up kicking our diet because we just don't want to be hungry anymore. The next one is feeling tired. Often diets can leave us feeling tired. I mean, if we're hungry, if we're having to use our self-discipline to resist temptation, then this can be tiring. It can leave us feeling low in energy because we're perhaps not getting some of the nutrition that we need. On top of that, we've got this idea that we're always having to, not enjoy life because we can't eat what we want to eat. So eventually it becomes very tiring, and this is the third main reason I found out yesterday that people give up diets. And the fourth one is that it's very difficult to maintain a diet when we're losing muscle mass at the same time. So when we lose fat, we also often, when we go on a diet, lose muscle mass at the same time. And having good strong muscles and lots of muscles is the thing that increases our metabolism. So if we lose muscle, our metabolism reduces, and we don't need as much food to maintain our bodies. So as soon as we stop the diet, we put on weight really quickly again, and at the same time we've actually lost some muscle. So that's why it's a good idea, if we're going on a diet, to go to the gym. I've never been able to motivate myself, but it's something that I definitely want to do. I've had it on. It's been on my list for a while now to actually start going to the gym and doing some work to I don't want to get huge, but just to keep my muscles strong as I get now older. I do flexibility, I do yoga, I keep myself fit and active, but I really could do with actually going to the gym and building some muscle. And if you are going to do that, I recommend doing it slowly, step by step, bit by bit. Don't rush into it, nice and gently. And there's more information on building good habits in module 2 on habit change. So what if there was a diet that you could eat as much as you wanted and still would lose weight? Well, there is such a diet. It's the plant-based, it's a whole food plant-based diet, and that's the diet that we're gonna go on. It's going to enable us to lose weight. It's going to keep us healthy. It's going to make us compassionate and in balance with our own feelings about nature. It's going to be a diet that helps us to prevent climate change, and of course is very, very good for the animals. And all of those things, this is what our plant-based diet will do. So yeah, that is the end of this session for today. Thank you for being with me this morning, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thank you. Bye bye.